Good day and welcome to Book Brilliance, the author's voice. I have an amazing new author with me today who is going to share her wonderful voice with you, all about who she is, what she does, and the journey she's been on as an author. So without further ado, let me introduce Iarchy.
Hey Brenda, lovely to be here and sharing my story and my journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just said your name, I haven't said what you do, because I think there's no better person to explain what it is you do than yourself. So share with us your genius and how you help support other people.
So I help mostly self-employed women to gain energy, confidence and self-esteem through weight loss and healthy lifestyle coaching. Over the years, I've developed a 5-step system that is more of a holistic system than just having a diet and exercise, and looks into everything when it comes to lifestyle, mindset, habits, nutrition, and I don't say diet, I say nutrition, exercise, sleep and stress. All the factors that have a massive influence to how you look, but also how you feel and how you then can perform in anything you want to perform in life. Yeah. Be it business, be it family, be it everything else.
So, you know me, I'm always interested in people's stories and people's journeys. So why that field? Why does that drive you so much?
So I used to work in the corporate world, and I used to struggle living a healthy lifestyle. I had no idea. I mean, I used to travel a lot. I used to entertain my clients a lot. And I just didn't know how to live a healthy lifestyle, which over the years, I put on a lot of weight and I felt rubbish inside. I wasn't happy. I wasn't confident. And obviously, I didn't show it to the world that I wasn't confident, but deep down I knew that it prevented me from doing a lot of things that I wanted to do. And just over 10 years ago, I made a career change and I started off as a personal trainer. And as I was working, I realized that actually the people that I really enjoyed working with were the people that were struggling with the same issues that I was struggling with. How do you lead a healthy lifestyle when you are massively busy and you juggle, especially as women, I think more than men, juggle so many different plates between work, between family, between kids, between hobbies, between social life and everything else that's happening. How do you do it? And I thought there must be a way to do it. And so that's how I started, finding my system and fine-tuning it over those last 10 years.
Yeah, and it does take that, doesn't it? It's a trial and error. It's living with it and thinking, well, that worked for a while, but now it doesn't work. Why is it not working anymore? And so when you eat, breathe and sleep something, which I call embodying it, then it puts you into such an expert status. In 10 years, it's the same amount for a PhD. So there we go. Think of it like that too. So now, tell us how you've gone from corporate to being a business owner. And how did you go from business owner to writer or author?
So from the corporate to becoming, running my own business, I have to say it was a bit scary and probably a bit dumb if I look back at it. So I resigned in December 2009. And I decided to start my own business without really knowing what running a business entails. So holding my hand up, if I could do it differently this time around or another time around, I would always, plan it better, but also reach out for support and help. That probably was a costly mistake, if I can say that way, when it comes to money. Because although things were slowly working, at some point I reached a specific ceiling that wasn't even enough for me to properly survive. And then I needed some help to reach the next level. So that's kind of how I went from one to, there was a massive learning curve when it comes to marketing yourself, to,
Yeah.
getting clients, getting systems in place, so many things that, finances, how to, cash flow and all the other bits and pieces that comes with running your own business. So a massive learning curve, which I wish I had someone holding my hand along the way, but
Yeah.
I learned the hard way. It's an option as well, but it's not a fun one. Although
No.
I probably learned more than I would have done otherwise. So
Well, of course, we learn best when we make mistakes, don't we? We learn from the
yeah,
mistakes. I'm not going to do that again. Although some of us in life, with life learning, we do tend to make some mistakes over and over until eventually we get the message, you know.
definitely.
So you're in your business, you're doing your thing, you're helping all these amazing people. So when did sort of writing and that little idea of, oh, I'm going to be an author, when
So
did that happen?
I wanted to help more people. I wanted to spread my message much wider. And up until then, I'd say 99% of my clients were local clients. And my thing was, well, I've got something I really believe in.
Yeah.
How can I spread the word? And that's where the idea of a book came in. So in January, I sit with a friend of mine and we do what I call not a vision board, but a goal board of what we
Yeah.
want to achieve during the year. And one of the things we both put on our board was we want to write a book. And then she went to a workshop and someone mentioned a book course. So she registered to it and she said, you have to do it. So off I went, registered on the course, and eventually a book came out. It required lots of self-discipline to sit down and write.
Yes.
It required, it was a whole new world. How do you put what you're taught, your beliefs into a process that makes sense? So it was, I think once you've got the structure in place,
Yeah.
it's very easy to fill the gaps.
Yeah.
Because you know your stuff as an author or as an expert, but it's about having that structure in place.
Yeah.
And once you've got that, all your teaching points, what goes together with what, and then how to structure your chapters. It's a lot of work. You have to sit down and write, but it's actually not that hard.
No, it's a discipline, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
discipline of sitting down and just getting it done, because particularly if you're writing a non-fiction book that's based on its self-help, it's your business, it's your passion, it's that purpose in life. These books are easier in some ways to write, but they still have a challenge, because if you don't get the structure right, like you said, if you don't sit down and work out what needs to go in it and ask yourself, what can I leave out?
Yeah.
Because we've always got too much information. So how did you determine what was going in and what was staying out?
So for me, it was really, so what I did, I spent quite a bit of time is putting all the stuff that I want to talk about on little cards.
Yeah.
And so every teaching point was on a specific card. And then I just, clean the table, spread it out, and then try to group things together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that some were quite overlapping, some were really duplicate, even though, and then it's about making sure you reference one to the other. And then certain things just were left out, because actually once you look at them again, you realize that they don't fit in anywhere. So keep them aside for the next book.
Mm. And one of the things that we all know in this environment today in the business world is weaving story into what you're doing. So tell us how that came about, where the stories came from.
So once I had that structure and teaching points, I went back and I took a different colored card and I tried and recall all the stories from my clients that went with every teaching point. I think, and that's one of the feedbacks I have from people who read the book, is there's so many stories, and I recognize myself in so many things that it really talks to me as if, you know, you wrote it for me as opposed to for anyone and everyone. And that's kind of, I think, a powerful thing, is if people can identify with your examples. And so I went back into, you know, over the last 10 years store, at the time 9 years stories of all my clients. And I said, oh yeah, that person, you know, struggled with da-da-da. Let me write her story. And obviously I have lots of, you know, testimonials and memories from clients. So those are the kind of stuff that I pulled out of every file, every, you know, notebook I had from work with my clients, and I fitted it in along the book.
Very good, and very disciplined, very structured, and that is what makes a successful, good, great book, brilliant book, as I like to say. And you do have to do that planning, because with that plan in place, how easy was it then to write the book?
If I'm totally honest, I think between August, when I had the structure, and middle of September, towards the end of September, end of September, I only had about 10,000 words, which is nowhere enough to write a book. But then when I worked backwards on when I wanted the book to be published to when I had to have my first manuscript ready, I only had 6 weeks. So actually most of the book, I'd say 3/4, if not more of the book, I wrote in 6 weeks time. So not that long, knowing that I also have clients and I have my normal job to do as well. So yeah.
So, and the thing is, although you said it took 6 weeks, it was a lot longer period overall. And this is what, if you want to write a book and have credibility in it, you know, there is a lot more thought process has got to into it, rather than just letting it all come out, which is, letting it all come out is part of the book. So tell me, what was the feeling when you got your book for the first time in your hand?
Oh, so when I had my dummy copy, if I call it that way, in my hand, I was just so excited. I did a live stream. I had the package on my doorstep, and I went upstairs and I just did a live stream. It was just surreal, especially as first-time author. I don't know if you at second time or third time around,
it's like giving birth, you know. The first time's always like, whoa, but actual subsequent births are just as well. I know, I've had 4, so
yeah.
And a book is like birthing a baby.
To be honest, when I sent off my first manuscript, it felt like I was lost for a week because nothing happened during that week. And I felt like I had sent my kid to nursery for the first time. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, it felt like, oh, my baby, you know, yeah, birthing, definitely. It was surreal. I still kind of, you know, I can't explain it, but yeah.
And there's a lot of learning curve as a person in becoming an author, in terms of once you've got an editor, because you've poured your heart and soul into a book, then you get an editor and they go, actually, see this bit here, you don't need that in your book, and actually see that bit there, you need to put it here, and they start like playing around, you know, like these puzzles. And I think as the writer and the author, you're like, you know, but it's a mindset shift, isn't it? You've got to tell yourself they're going to make the book better.
Yeah.
That's why when you work with a publisher in partnership publishing, it's much better than being just left on your own devices, you know. Absolutely. I would always.
There's certain things that totally made sense. So the first comments I got back was, you know, the mindset part should come first. And the reason why I hadn't put it first is because I used to use a anagram for my system, and the mindset came in as third, which kind of as fourth actually, which kind of, it's true, it didn't make much sense. So I had a lot of work to redo that bit. Then the other comment I got was, you know, some of your stories are too long, and that's one of those things that I felt as a writer, but also from my clients, is I'm not going to change the stories. They're there for a reason.
Yes.
So there's definitely feedback that I took you know, at heart, and I changed it all, and it was a hell of a lot of work because lots of references had to change. But certain things were really important to me, and those ones I didn't want to change. And I think that's, as you say, definitely a big difference when you work in a partnership publishing, is that it's still your book after all.
That's right, it is. That's a good thing, you know, because if you go to a traditional publisher, you lose so much rights, and they do stuff with it, and you've got no say. And when you self-publish, there's a lot of things you don't know, you know.
Yes.
But when you come in that middle one, you just get the best of everything. You get the best of traditional publishing, and you actually get to keep 100% copyright and everything yourself, and you're making money, and it's just so so much better. But tell me, we've been in trying times, haven't we, with lockdown and COVID and all of that. So you've had your book launch. Tell us what you did for that.
Well, so talking about COVID, my book was published on the 24th of March, one day after lockdown started. So unfortunately, my official book launch didn't happen. I had planned a personal book launch locally here in North London. And so that one, I just moved to an online book launch, which meant that most of the people that attended were friends, family, and a few people contacts that I knew. So it wasn't a proper book launch, if I can say that way. The plans I had in my local bookshop were shelved. And obviously, my reason for publishing the book just before Easter was because, for me personally, as a business, it's a busy time. It's a time where people, after January, review their lifestyle for their bikini body. Obviously, this year, I don't think many people will be wearing their bikini on holiday. So things have been a little bit slow, for sure. Another thing that happened was that the supplier to Amazon, and Amazon didn't accept new books. The supplier suspended operations. So for me, it's been hard when it comes to marketing. I have managed to sell quite a few books online through my website.
Excellent.
But it hasn't had the reach that I had intended it to.
But the thing is, though, Anne, here's the thing. Okay, your book got launched in March, and we've had this, but there's absolutely nothing to stop you getting a bit of a strategy plan going on, a marketing strategy, and doing all those things that you planned just a bit later, when all of this is behind us, which hopefully won't be too long now. And you can still get all that buzz. You just get the energy going again. And you know what? I know there'll be lots of people supporting you, and I know your online launch was a hit. I know, because I was there. And it was brilliant, actually. It really, really was good. And you know, it's so for me, I'm thinking, well, actually, you can get the best of both worlds. So you can still do an offline launch and do all that, because people like the gatherings and everything like that. But equally, an online launch is good too. So this is good talking about this for other authors, because it means I know lots of people all around the world. So it means then if you do something like that, you're far reaching. Because somebody might not fly over for your book launch from America or whatever, but they're quite happy find an hour and come and do your book launch online. So there's a lot to look forward to in terms of potential and having a global market, you know?
Yeah.
So do you have a plan for coming out of lockdown?
when it comes to my book,
Yes.
yes, I do. So on the back of the book, my plan was to organize some workshops. And so obviously the one in April didn't happen. As we don't know how September are going to look like, I am at the moment writing, instead of a workshop, a four-week online course based on the book. So that should launch in July. So I've got the whole month of June to just focus on that and getting it out there. And in the meantime, just continue and, on a regular basis, promote the book on all social media. I just had today a book review done in a magazine, a worldwide magazine actually. So that was a great review, came out as well. And funnily enough, exactly what I was trying to, put out in the book, that's exactly how the book had been received. So that's quite cool.
There you go. A dream come true. And that's what happens. Now, last word from you, Anne. What is your number one tip to someone thinking about writing their book?
Just do it. Seriously, don't wait. If you drag it on, it's never going to happen. So quite a few people that were with me, well, most people that were with me on the book writing course, they've been agonizing about it. They've been dragging it. They've been, should I, shouldn't I? Just do it.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
It's just happening, and you're going to have, what was it, last week or the week before? A memory on Facebook came up from last year saying, I'm writing my book proposal. Well, in less than a year, I have a book out. So
Yay!
it doesn't take ages.
No, that's what we like to hear. Well, Anne, thank you very much for gracing the Author's Voice chair today. And I'm sure we'll have you back at another time to tell us more about your journey as an author and how things pan out for you in terms of how the book's raising your profile and being seen as an authority and what doors of opportunity is open. So I certainly would like to get you back later on in the year to discuss the next phase of authorship. Okay, so thank you very much, Anne.